Today's lecture is on fragments. What are fragments? Fragments are, suppose we have a one activity. Activity means one page, one screen. On that screen, we have three blocks. Suppose fragment 1, fragment 2 and fragment 3. So these divisions, these blocks are the fragments. What does that mean is, let's suppose we have activity A and another activity B. If you want to open some information, eventually you have to go to activity B. Suppose we have some screen, I want to swap it or tap it, but some material is not changing, only the inside screen is changing. So it means we used only such content, so that is replacing rather than the whole content is replacing. So that is the concept of a fragments, that is done by the fragments. What are the examples for that? Suppose we are doing chatting. What does that mean? In a one activity we have some partitioning. Got it? So if you open it in a laptop, it shows you the usernames at the left hand side. When you click on it, according to that it shows you the content of the chatting. Got it? If you are using a mobile, we have a list of users over here. When you click there, it shows you the individual users' messages. So the content that is upside at the top of it, some content remains there and it was not changing, or it is not changing. So that content is also done by the fragment. Another example is if you use Instagram. So suppose in the Instagram over here, we have here some home page, and there is a search button in tab, and then there is the content of some who likes your comment or who sent you some request, and there is your content, another button, or you can say the tab. So when you click over here, when you tap over here, when you just swipe the content, so that content is changing, but the upper portion and the lower portion remains there. So that is also an example of a fragments. By using the fragments, we do that concept. So again, what are fragments? They are blocks. You can call it's fragment 1, fragment 2 and fragment 3, like here. So block means user interface. Component, user interface component, or you can say a part of UI. Suppose I have another activity. Suppose I written over here is activity A and activity B. Suppose activity A and activity B. But in the another activity, means another page, the fragment 1 material and fragment 1 are same. So how do we do that? We connect these fragments with each other by calling that same thing by calling it. So fragments are the blocks. If you want to use it, you just call that block. You need not to do that thing again and again in a particular pages. I am using the word pages, but in our language we use an activity. Again I am repeating, fragments are, we have to apply fragments inside the activity. Always the fragments are inside the activity. So replacement of block on an activity. So as I want to replace that thing, to show some other fragment over here by using it. Next is, why do we need fragments? Why do we need it? If we want, we can combine several fragments in a single activity. Okay, so here we have several fragments in a single activity, and if you want to reuse the same fragment, means this fragment 1 same. If you want to reuse the same fragment across several activities, because fragments have their own layout, which can be used across the many different activities. So that's why we need that. One of many advantages of fragment is that they make better use of larger screen space on tablets. So if you use a tablets, on that tablets, it's a good use of a fragments. To divide the screen, to minimize the work on a screen, so we use fragments. It supports different layouts that are maybe on portrait or a landscape mode. So here we have a theory of the fragments. Last is uses of fragments. Fragment, the uses are, it's flexible user interface across different screen, okay, and we can also fix the fragments. So scrolling is also there. Swipe tab, like we use the swipe on the tabs, so at that place we use fragments. Dialog boxes are also there. What does that mean? Dialog box means when you click on or tab it, it shows you a small box where it shows you exit or cancel, right? So we have by default dialog box also and custom also. If you want customize that, so we at that purpose we build that thing in a custom fragments. By using fragments we customize the dialog box, which are purely made by using the fragments as of now. All action bar customization with recycler view and tab modes are possible with fragments. This thing we will do later. Tab modes, I told you that if you do some tab mode on that, you can also customize that bar also, tabs or bars also for by using the fragments. How we can make a fragments? First of all, we have to do work with two things. One is the Java file and one is a XML file. For XML file, you have to create a UIF for that, and for Java, if we want to link that fragments with it, we use the Java file. Create a new Java file, which is we have to create a Java folder. Under that, we have to create a new. We have to go on new, and after that new, you have to select Java class file. And for XML part, we have to click on new, then fragment, select the blank fragment. The next video I will demonstrate you how we use the fragments. This is the theory part of the fragments.